Okay, no one really remembers where I'm up to? Okay, let me just give a little overview and then we'll start with okay, we'll quickly go over the 5 principles of the 5 most potent items of devotional service. Okay, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Jnana-timirandasya Gananjana Shalakaya. Taksurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Svapadantikam Panchakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhaevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasade Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So, actually the book I'm reading was not written by Vinod Bihari. Somehow it's listed under him, but his guru, who is named Kishorinanda, also known as Teen Kori Baba. So there were several sadhus in Vrindavan, I think a little bit before Prabhupada, who were kind of famous for chanting. And previously, and I can understand it a little bit, that they were chanting lakhs, literally lakhs a day. Actually, one time I was in Puchari in Govardhan, and someone asked me if I was with some people. I met this guy, Devaki Pran, who used to go around twice a day. He was from ISKCON, but he moved to Radhakund, and he said, "Do you want to meet Jagannatha Das Babaji?" This is not, Bhaktivinoda Thakur's guru. That he did the vow of Haridas Thakur 20 times. The vow of Haridas Thakur, as was practiced in Braj, was 3 lakhs a day and like 100 Gayatris or something before you eat or something for 6 months. And I can understand if someone has taste, the holy name is God. If we can experience it, we experience God. And experiencing God, which is the priyojana, is feeling God. And in terms of an experience of a person, it's experience of our relationship with that person. So someone who chants the holy name purely and his consciousness by practice is not covered by false ego and offense, it's the highest pleasure. Love, everyone in this world is looking for pleasure. I wrote this once in this drama I wrote, and that pleasure is love. If it's the guiding principle here, why should it not exist in the ultimate reality? That's our philosophy. Rasa vai saha. He is that flavor, and it's God's flavor. And hopefully, somehow, maybe in the beginning of Krishna consciousness, a drop of that touched our heart and gave us faith that there's a greater pleasure than anything egotistical or sensual. And one stays in that mood and experiences that mood, and it makes them more and more humble. And I've conceptualized this myself, but I think it's a very effective way to explain how, as one becomes more advanced, humility and pleasure increase. I've explained this several times. It's something I came up with that I think explains why, when one is more advanced, he becomes more humble. Because just like the degree of thirst indicates the lack of water, but thirst is bhakti, thirst for Krishna. So the more you thirst for Krishna, the more you feel you don't have it, and the more you experience it. Just like the more you are thirsty, the more pleasure you get from water. If you're really, really thirsty, the degree of your thirst indicates the degree of your pleasure while drinking water. Well, the degree of your thirst for Krishna indicates the degree of pleasure and humility, because you don't feel you have Krishna, because you're thirsty, you're hungry. Your hunger, your thirst for Krishna increases. So people at that level, somehow in Mayapur I get a drop of mercy. It's Odaryadam. It's just like it sit there. It becomes so easy, where it's not always that easy. But there are people, like the person who's writing this, who has that experience of Cheto Darpana Marjanam, cleaning the mirror of the consciousness so that there is an experience of that energy. I saw a calf and a cow, and the calf was born and got up and started licking the mother's milk bag. And it was intense. I said, energy, it's intense. Premo Pamartha Maha, and the highest love, Twasmin Parama Prema Roop, the highest form of love is to God. This is what we want, happiness. This is really happiness. It's just not cheap, so we don't want to pay for it. But it doesn't mean that it's not of the greatest value. And the more you can understand and have faith it's the greatest value, either by some experience or some understanding, the more you'll make the sacrifice. Just like when people go to, in India, study for the best schools, they'll make spelling bees, they'll make a sacrifice. You make a sacrifice according to your faith, and your faith is the value of your objective. So, so basically, I'll bring us up to date, and then I'll go really quickly over the 5 most potent items. Just to put it in context, it's a disciple who gave up everything. They came to Braj. Somehow or other, they were chanting lakhs and so many things, and they lost taste. He tells his guru, I lost taste, and I'm not happy here in Braj, and I'm becoming attracted to material things. But he's sincere, because he's already come to leave the world. And the guru said, it's kind of simple. It's you've committed, there's offense. And if there's no prem, then there's aparad. And it comes something like this, according to, it's proportional to our taste or lack of taste is proportional to the offenses we've committed in our previous life. And then if we don't commit more offenses, then whatever taste we have increases. So, this treatise is about avoiding. So the Guru explains to him the main problem is Vaishnav aparad. Of course, we don't have taste, the 10 offenses, but you commit the 10 offenses, there's save aparads, more serious than save aparads is nam aparads, and of the nam aparads, you commit nam aparads, it's like a tree of bhakti, it can break the branches and leaves, but the worst thing is Vaishnav aparad, it uproots the root. And then, as we've been discussing, there's a whole treatise on that. And then the disciple wants to understand something more. He says, well, and then he explains to him, okay, the first principle, the 64 principles, is Guru Padashraya. We have to live under and serve the truth. Veda. Veda means knowledge. God said, let there be light. So from sound, which is the most subtle element, it expands, it becomes gross. The grossest element is earth, and within earth is all the 5 sense experiences. So it goes from subtle to gross. I can tell you one of these days, I've been up so early and I went out. Every day there's on the bank of the Jalangi, as you walk out of Mayapur, it takes me about 40 minutes. There's a more beautiful than the MVT, Rasamrita Kunj, and every day I go there to somebody's house for lunch. 15 minutes past there's even a place that's even more beautiful. It's beautiful, my God. It's called Gore Village. There's one person, Vaikuntha Nitai, his name is. He's one of those rare leaders. He just planned this village with very strict rules on how you can construct, and even when you come in. So that's an hour, so I walk there for lunch. So let me try to get back to the focus. So he says, okay, Guru Padashraya, you have to put yourself and live by the truth. And then he wanted more, and he said, okay, there's 5 items of devotional service that are not most potent. Which is serving the deity, association with devotees, hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, Nam Sankirtan, and living in Mathura. And Rupa Goswami says in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, if you could do these without offense, you can easily get Baba. With those neophytes. Neophyte means without attachment. You can get mature attachment. So I like this because it gives a template. It gives a template. You want to experience the holy name, you have to take away the covering that's preventing you from experiencing that energy. The sun's all powerful, but the umbrella, you can cover yourself from that energy. So we can cover ourselves from the power of the holy name by our desires, material, excessive, We can cover ourselves, and so we don't experience that. Yeah. Now I'm stopping because I like the level of unconscious competence, and I realize not sleeping and fatigue, my mind's not working as well because it's a little bit the evening here. And I've been up since 1 a.m. So there's a little fatigue here, but okay, I'm going to start again. I'm going to have to take a few deep breaths. Okay, so this is kind of a template for spiritual life. And spiritual life begins, and it appears in yoga, any type of yoga, it begins with ahimsa, nonviolence. It seems in one sense we don't stress this, but actually if you dig a little deeper, this is the most important principle in any spiritual path. Because spiritual path begins, yoga begins with controlling the mind. And if you can't control your mind to the extent with others, to the extent of not exploiting them or doing harm to them, you haven't begun yoga. You haven't begun real yoga. So these souls who are chanting are saying that you really want to experience the holy name, you have to avoid offenses. And our violence usually comes out in terms of criticism, which is based on envy. It carries our envy, it carries our hate. And when you carry hate to others, you want to hurt others. You criticize from that envy, from that false ego, you want to harm others. You haven't begun spiritual life. There's even one verse that it's I just wanted to read it. It's from the Chaitanya Bhagavat. Oh man, I want to find this 1 second. Okay, here. As it says, Mahaprabhu delivered even the drunkards, but send the one who commit Vaishnav Ninda to hell. Mahaprabhu would deliver everybody except one who criticizes the Vaishnavas, since they are most fallen. Even if one pays obeisances to Sri Bhagavan, he will perish if he criticizes a devotee, since it strikes Sri Gaurchand like a spear in his heart. All Shastras declare that even if one is all-knowing, he will fall down if he criticizes a Vaishnava. Although Sri Krishna's holy name cleanses us of sins, he cannot deliver one from the effects of Vaishnava aparad. So, yeah. Okay, and then he says, what else? What's wrong? And he tells, and the Guru says, well, you have to practice the 5 items of devotional service because they're so potent. because they're so powerful. You have to practice them. And he says, well, I do practice them. He says, but you're not doing them appropriately. So he says, okay, you show me. So now these are the 5 items. So he says, you serve, well, I think we can go over them. I have enough time. And therefore I know where I'll finish, because I'll finish these today. He says, so he begins to explain, because he's saying, you're not following them accurately. Therefore, you're not having that experience, because you're not following them accurately. So he says, okay, tell me how you mean accurately. So instruct me the right way. She says, it's just not serving the deity. We must serve with love. We should meditate on this. How much of our service contains love? And then he mentions that he has this, he's been with many Babajis, and everybody's got a Govardhan Shila. But he says he sees people irritated, thinking, when will this seva be over? For example, we should perform an activity in focused on the activity out of love. Not just that it's a rule, that we complete the activity. This is not powerful devotion. It's rule-based, Vaidhi Bhakti. I finish the activity, then I get the credit. 16 rounds, when I put down the last round, I get the credit, even though I'm so distracted. No, real bhakti is everything is done. It's an offering of love. Each syllable is an offering of love. And you do this steadily, with some form of seriousness, then you will get the greatest gift. And the greatest gift is to like and get pleasure from the things that are best for you. That's our goal. To get pleasure and to like to do, because it's pleasurable, of the things that are best for us. So when you sit with the holy name, you're having an experience of that energy between you and God. And that's what prema is. It's this energy. It's what the world is based on. And what Krishna says, Kaler doshe nidhe rajan eko asti mahagunan kirtanadeva krishnasya mukta, that in this age, somehow this is how God appears. And if you can focus and you can do it in the right mood, maybe you can break through and feel that energy. And when that happens, then Kirtan Niyasadahari, you'll always want to chant. Because it's only superficial and temporary pleasure, sense and egotistical control and enjoyment. But real pleasure, susukam kartam avyam, is that pleasure which is joyfully performed, which means love. Love for God is joyfully performed. Karma is boring. It's tedious. Jnana is difficult. It's hard. You do those things for the goal and not the activity itself. But bhakti is joyfully performed. So he says, when you do this, worship the deity, let me just finish. What kind of love is that? And if you just offer the deity a cut up apple, but you yourself are eating luxuriously, he says, this is hundreds of years ago, he said, I've seen these sadhus. They offer the deity a few chickpeas, but they got things for themselves. That's not love. Yes, God, the love is important. So patram pushpam palam toyam, you can offer a leaf, a flower, water, but it's not love if you can offer more. It's love if that's all you can offer. And he goes over so many things, like some people, they just want to chant, and they look at these things as it's just a burden. No, it's not a burden, it's a duty, but it should be joyfully performed. So deity worship, real deity worship, he says, properly, it's done with some bhav. Like Govardhan Srila, when I went to Vishvambar Goswami, his father was a contemporary of and a supporter of Bhaktivinoda Thakur when the other Goswamis were against. Prabhupada said we can learn deity worship from them. When I first got my Govind Shila, I forgot my point now, I went to him. Yeah, and actually he quoted from the CC. And what the real seva of Govardhan is, in a simple way, it's, of course, it's bhav, but you have to offer things according to capacity. That's love. But it's bhav seva. These things just represent a vehicle to offer our heart. It's just like if there's a small, cute child and gives you just a little paper with some drawings, and it says Krishna, gives it to you. You may relish it as much as something given much more, if it's done for love. But when you're like Priya, and my Guru Puja, she offered this incredibly, I was just with, by the way, Chara Chandra. Some of you may know him. Great soul. I know many of my disciples really look up to him in New Jersey. He's the real thing. Incredible pain. He's on his back the whole time. I've been visiting him the last few days because he can only get up for about 10 minutes to take food and 10 minutes to go to the bathroom. And then there's too much pain in his back. He can kind of tolerate by laying down a bit. But in a few days, is his ticket back. But anyway, I went to him, and I forgot how Pino's Priya mentioned, that the beauty of that stained glass window she offered. So much work, but it's an expression of love. So it has to be seva. And then sadhu sanga, it says we should be selective. And Rupa Goswami, he gives the directions in Shastra. He says that you see a devotee, respect him. If someone's serious and initiated, you pay him obeisances. But one who is advanced means have single-minded devotion and never commits ninda or criticism. I've been talking about this wherever I go, and I'm really what I feel. I like to emulate that. What we need is sadhus. We need humble people. They can have initiative, they can be strong. But we need humble people. Vaishnavas who serve others before themselves, or think of others before themselves. Try to step out of that self-centered control, enjoy, cover the soul from the rays of the holy name consciousness. Step out of it, serve others before yourself. Anyway, that type of devotee who is Mahatara, Sajatiya, same path. Because different path, they may be nice, but sometimes there's tension, who's right. So Sajatiya, Snigdha, affectionate, Even if you have a personal relationship, you feel their affection, but better a personal relationship and more advanced. And they don't indulge in criticism. So it says maybe we'll be a little selective. Otherwise, the bhajan will suffer. And Śrīla doesn't mean just being with people, but even we see if there's people we think are more advanced, and they get into conflict with others, justifying the path. That's why I didn't like this thing. Someone's going around, bhakti is not inherent, and challenging and writing papers, and then other people defending. It's going to cause criticism, and it's going to hurt people's bhajan. Vaishnava is concerned with that. And also people who have content, they can give us the right instruction. It's not just chit chat. It's a little something deeper. So then he asks a very question: how can I judge a Vaishnav without criticizing them? But you're saying I have to make distinctions. So the Guru said something very practical. You can at least do two things. See that he's not criticizing others. And second, he's not argumentative and gets into heated discussions. And of course, and he's serious about his practices. Then you take association with that person. And by the association of that person, afterwards, you should feel more enthusiastic, more Krishna conscious, calmer than before. That's the person. And then he said, we don't find such a person. He said, our literature, you associate through the books and their thoughts and realizations, which is the essence of a spiritual person, shines through. So you want that, you can get sadhu sanga that way. And then he talks about hearing. And he quotes from Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur that there's two types of speakers, one with rag or material attachment and one without. And that rag speaker, we're not trying to hear from him because they're materialistic. They do it for greed, for money. Their words don't touch our heart. And they don't follow. And they're not relishing themselves, and they can't touch your heart. And he knows the content, so he can convey the right conclusions. Otherwise, you'll become confused. But really, you want to hear, in hearing, you want to hear from the nirag, without attachment, immersed in Bhagavat Ras, presents Krishna. It affects you, his bhav. He doesn't care for money and glory. And also, when hearing, we should reminisce, we should think what we're hearing about. We should apply it in our lives. So then he says, let us summarize. The speaker should practice what he preaches. He should have devotional feelings. We should hear attentively and remember what we hear, and we should practice what we hear. Then he gets to Nam Sankirtan. He says, no, chanting alone is not helpful. There's a way to chant. And of course, Chanadapi, Sunichena. Humility, at least the humility to call out for God. At least the humility to call out for God because we're suffering in this world and we need help. At least that. And Okay, the holy name, it was already mentioned. No, I'm kidding. Becoming aninduk. And there's this beautiful verse that Krishna will easily deliver the one who chants his name constantly without ninda. He'll deliver the one without ninda, without criticism. So then he recaps, he says, Vivek, these points. One, chanting alone is not useful. We should imbibe the mood of humility, Trinadapi. We should avoid criticism. We should get rid of external thoughts. We should fill our mind with the sweetness of Sri Bhagavan while chanting. We should chant most lovingly like this. And then the last item, living in Mathura. So he stresses this point. So Vivek says, well, I'm just seeing it's as ordinary. There's nothing special. Maybe the poets are imagining things. And so, recap, we must consider Vrindavan Dham divine. We must love and respect all moving and non-moving objects of Vrindavan. We should be careful not to find fault with any residents of Vrindavan or show him any disrespect. We should not travel outside Vrindavan to live there until death. Anyway, we should not travel out to live there, to live here until death with single-pointed devotion. Okay. If we follow the above rules, we can say with confidence we live in Brajamandala, this alone. Okay, I'm a little tired, but we'll stop here. Here we go. I don't know why I can't find my. Oh, here it goes. I got it. Okay. Yeah, a little tired today. I didn't get that nap, but Jamuna Jaya, are
Hare
you there?
Krishna Raj. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you so much for class. I noticed there are 3 times going over things that you use the word content. And when you said about we should associate with people that have content and then the speaker should have content. I remember long ago you equated the word content with content, which is spelt the word in English, and it's making me think of that. When we get the good content, we are content inside of our
Yeah,
hearts.
that's good. Yeah, right.
I,
The
I,
content. Yeah.
I really like that point from both our association and the speakers that the content can make us content.
Okay, Jamuna Jaya, thank you. Gail, anything today?
Maharaj, thank you. Would you mind repeating? I think it was some history of this book at the head of the class.
Yeah, I
Do you
thought
remember?
it was written, I thought it was written by this Baba that was in Govardhan, Vrindavan. But when I read today at the beginning, tell you what it says. In the introduction, I read for the first time, and it said something else. It said, I'll tell you what it says. It says, if we do some soul searching, we should surely find very minute matters arising from various aparads. If we are inattentive to these minute matters, then later they gain huge proportions and stop our progress on the path. Oh, wait, it is. Okay, it is by this Vinod Bihari. Yeah, okay. It is by him. Okay. Okay, anything else, Gail?
And who again is this Vinod Bihari?
Okay, he's a Vaishnav that's been living in Braj for a long time, and he chants, at least now he chants, he probably did it, and he used to just chant, and when people find out where he is, he'd move to another place, and he must be doing this for 30, in Barsana, Kusum Sarovara, different places, obscure places, and he finally got an ashram maybe 10, 15 years ago, maybe, I'm not sure when, but he got an ashram near Vishabhanu Kund on the foothills of Barsana. And, he chants from 5 to 2 every day, 9 hours straight.
And
So
within those 9 hours, he does how many lakhs of names?
I don't know, but I'm sure it probably does 2, 3 lakhs, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
I guess, I guess at that level of chanting, I honestly think it probably takes him not more than an hour to chant 16 rounds, and you can chant them clearly.
Yeah, yeah.
Definitely. Sometimes it's hard for people to believe, but I know when someone is attentive and they can just become practiced, it goes so much quicker.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense to me because I think it's the taste that does the trick, no?
Yeah, the taste that does the trick, and also practice. You get,
Yeah,
yeah,
well, you get the taste from kind of practice, right?
yeah, right, okay. Oh,
Maharaj, actually, I was very I was sad to hear that about Charu, Chandra.
yeah, I'm going over there because I just found out about it
I mean,
and
how
try.
long has he been in this condition?
Well, he got this accident and he's been in
Oh, he
pain
had.
for a long while, but it's got to the extent where he has to lay down all the time. Now, I saw him today. He said he's feeling a little bit better and he's hoping by tomorrow, the next day, he can travel.
Can you say what the accident was? Was it a car
I
accident?
think he was driving I don't know. He had that land in Kentucky and he was driving one of these, I don't know, scooters or something that fell over and he
Oh
hurt
my
his
God.
back. So he's got to get
Wow.
an operation on his back to be
Oh my
functioning.
God. Wow.
Yeah,
Well,
so, but he's
I'm
very
praying.
Krishna. He's very
I
Krishna.
know. I know.
And and the last 2 days, because it's on my way back from this Rasamrita Kunj, he's staying in this place, Saki Nivas, and I go to see him, and because I told him too that if he can't travel, right? If he can't travel, he should just get the operation in India and just find the best doctors. And I know there must be the best doctors because I know that Indradyumna Swami in a week is getting a operation on his back.
Oh, I didn't even know
Yeah,
that.
yeah. So I didn't know it either, but um, you know that Hari Raval got initiated by him. Do you know that?
Yeah, yeah, I heard. I heard.
So anyway, one other person who was with him, I saw and told me that. Anyway, okay. Okay, anybody
Well, let
else?
him know that I'm sure everybody on this call is probably
Well,
praying
what
for
I
him.
was going to
Let
say
him know.
to him, what I was going to say to him is, if you can't travel, let's just get the operation here and we'll make some collection. It's probably not as expensive as the West, probably a couple of $1,000s for the best.
Hmm.
And he looked like, no, no, he's like,
Of
no.
course, of
I
course.
would, I would be, yes, yes. He was saying, no, no, who's going to pay for it? And I don't want, he's a real Vaishnav, so, and transcendental, not depressed, but
Wow.
I'll let you know. I'll let you know.
Okay, thank you, Maharaj.
Okay. Ishwari, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Maharaj. Thank you for class. Thank you
You're
for.
on your way you're on your way to work?
I am on my way to work. Nice
Okay.
and cold here, 25 degrees.
Okay, now this is an international audience, so you have to say in centigrade.
I have no idea. Freezing.
Okay, anybody else say hello? Okay.
Hare Krishna Garage, Salal Govinda.
I'm Braja. Thank you for
Thank you for
class.
class.
How you guys doing?
We're okay. I mean, the power was just out for hours and hours, but now it just went back on just now, so it's good. It was getting cold in here.
That's why I don't go to New Jersey. It's like a third world country. I have electricity 24 hours a day here. Like, okay. Yeah. Anyway, the program with Jayadvaita Maharaj I heard was quite nice. Everybody liked his talk.
Yeah, sad we missed it.
I looked
It was
at the
good.
man. It was pretty good, but it was missing Lal Sabji.
Oh.
It didn't. I shouldn't say Sabji. It's like it's what the way you trained him.
It's true.
He's a good student.
Huh? He's
He's a good student.
He's a good cook. Good cook.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
I follow good recipes.
Okay. Anybody else say hello before?
Hare Krishna Maharaj, Shrupa. Thank you for class.
Okay, Shrupa. Okay, nice to hear from you. Okay, actually, there's kirtan here today, and I'm going to go sit in the kirtan downstairs. Okay, I'm going to be better prepared next time. I don't feel like I was really focused. Okay. Okay, Vancha Kalpa Tribhyas Chakra Sindhu